Hey everyone, welcome to the SaaS AdLab podcast, where we bring you the stories of SaaS founders, entrepreneurs, and executives. My name is Luis. I'm the owner and founder of Fantôm Agency, a digital marketing agency specializing in scaling SaaS companies. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing Alex, the founder of PomoDoneApp. So Alex, thank you for joining us today. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you grew up, where do you live, and also, is this your first company?
It's a big story. I'm I'm 47 years old, so my story is more than one country, more than one company for sure. I believe it would take a lot of time to speak about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So let's wrap it up somehow to the small things.
Okay, let's do that.
But actually, one important thing I would like to mention, we are a 16 years old web development company.
Okay.
And as long as the product itself, it is a side product of our company we created for our own, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're like a boutique type company. So we serve small clients. Oh, not small, they used to be small when we started, but we work for instance, for our current several customers, we work for more than 10 years.
That's a long time. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's how a lot of SaaS companies actually start is, you know, it's a company doing their own thing, and they realize that there's a need for a specific piece of software, whether it's some sort of time tracking system or just any other thing, right? And then like HubSpot, then they have a CRM, and now everyone has got it. So it's usually something that's missing in their own little ecosystem they created, and they realize this could help tons of people around the world, and why don't we package it up, make it look pretty, and then everyone can have it. And that's one of the things that I love about SaaS companies is the fact that usually it starts with one little tiny personal problem, and then, you know, you decide to, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's dealing with something like this, so I'm going to bring it to the market. And when did you realize that, you know, your product it was something that was going to be able to compete with what's out there currently? And how did you find the right way to position it so that it's not, you know, exactly the same as whatever is out there?
It's actually quite easy because it's less about time tracking. Mm-hmm. Rather than the complex of things. As a web development company, we serve different customers. And as long as every customer prefers his own choice for task management systems, mm-hmm. like, you know, some prefer Asana, some prefer, at the time it was Basecamp, I believe, or we, of course, use Trello or Evernote or again, several different tools. Mm-hmm. So every time you have to monitor several systems, keeping in mind what's important, and you have to track time because you have to report and you have to send invoices by the time. So at the moment, we realized we use different task systems. We use time tracking tools. We have to focus somehow, and we love to use Pomodoro techniques. So we used to use some Pomodoro timer, mm-hmm. if you know what I mean, yeah. Right? It's like a time boxing thing. So many things at once at the same time. And we realized there were some tools, it was about 3.5 years ago, I'd say, which already have some task management plus Pomodoro, but if we have so many tasks already created and managed somewhere, why should we copy and paste it somewhere else and keep this synchronization at the time? So our initial idea was like to create this universal inbox connecting different tools into one, then apply Pomodoro techniques. So it's countdown timer. And there is a very big difference comparing to the most competitors like Toggle or Harvest or EverHour, whatever you prefer, because it's really important to have this break, right? And at the time, as long as it's about the time, we can keep this information about the time span, and we can create reports based on it, right? So we created several integrations at the moment. Our first ones were Trello, I believe, and Todoist and Wunderlist. Yeah, through APIs. So we let people connect it. We let people have everything in one place. Well, we let us have it in one place. And then favorite things from different sources when you want to have most important things right at the top of what you're doing. And then what is also really important, we realized that there is plenty of distractions all the time, right? And as long as, again, we deal with the time, we deal with the APIs, we can help ourselves to eliminate these distractions. So, for instance, when we created this Chrome extension, which works with our tool and our ecosystem, it can block certain websites. So again, why should we use the one more extension to do what we can do on our own? The one thing which is most important, and it is part of our ideology, I would say, we don't try to compete on the project and tasks management market, because there are pretty good guys on it, and there's awesome tools we love, right? And they are almost perfect for what we do, right? Why should we switch from them and try to compete with them? It's almost impossible. Plus, what we do there, we do task management, prioritization, assignments, right? Estimation. What we do with our PomoDoneApp, it's about task execution. So we let us and then users to select the task from the list they already created somehow, or it was created by someone else, run this countdown Pomodoro timer, eliminate the distraction through these websites blocking, or notify the team using this, our Slack integration, and even turn on D&D mode there, right? To let us focus on what we're doing. So again, our product, it's less about time tracking. Time tracking is one of the side effects. It's more about focus. It's more about mindful approach. It's not about automation, like making the screenshot. It's not about the control, right? It's about the mindful focus for each of us on the personal level.
Okay. So it's more about actually getting your stuff done. And
absolutely.
And I mean, it's in the name. So it has the technique, and then it's in the name. So I was actually going to ask about the name. I kind of figured it out after looking at it a couple of times. So that makes sense. And I like the fact that you're not trying to compete with something that, like you said, you pretty much already think, you know, there's big players in the task management and everything. So you have things like Jira or Asana and Trello that have already been working on this product for a long time, and they've been able to figure out exactly, you know, what the market's asking for, and they've come out with some pretty good products. And if you can't find something that personally you could make better, or something that you think would make the product better, then I don't think there's even a reason to try to get in there, because you don't know what you'd be changing, which makes sense.
Right.
So I think that's great. And with that being said, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what challenges you faced throughout the whole process of having the idea and then actually going into and executing what was on your head?
Oh, it's a good one. Thank you for the question. Well, I would say initial challenge for us was to choose the tools we would like to add. Maybe not the first ones, because first ones were on the prototype level, right? But as soon as we put it on the market, and for the first year and a half, I believe we were keeping it absolutely free, and collect the users' requests, feature requests, and bug reports. We received huge wave of the commands and requests. And the biggest challenge was to decide which of them are reasonable enough and good enough to put it on our backlog or escalate. And again, as long as it was a side product and we didn't earn anything from there, these for us at the moment, it was really important to decide, does it sound for us as, well, would we use it, for instance? Is it because, everyone creates his own workflow. Someone cannot imagine his workflow without, for instance, travel labels, right?
Yeah.
For some people, it's really important to keep this assignee thing and then filter it out to see what's going on his desk, or if he's team lead, what's going on his team desks, right? So I would say the first one is to choose which workflow should we support.
Okay.
Then I would say a lot of requests about different integrations. And again, we have to decide which one are we escalating and which ones we are considering to add.
And what's the criteria that goes into each of those decisions? What do you
well, the first one is a number of votes, of course, right? So if we receive one request per month about some tool, it's good enough to keep somewhere in our icebox, right? But maybe not good enough to put it on the top of the list.
Right.
However, some things and some requests brought us frustration, I would say, because, for instance, when Microsoft purchased Wunderlist, if you remember, they promised to kill it, and they delivered the Microsoft To Do. We decided it was trying, so we released integration with Microsoft To Do, I would say within a week or 2 weeks. And then we realized that a lot of people love this Microsoft To Do My Day thing. I'm not sure. Do you use the Microsoft To Do thing?
No, I don't.
There is a thing. For every tool you use, you can define the due date, right? For task management, I mean, or Evernote reminder or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we can filter it out by the due date and show people what they were supposed to do today, right? Or what's due today. But for Microsoft, it's a bit different because you can define the due date, and then you can drag and drop your task to My Day list. It is not connected to the due date at all. And the second most important thing is that Microsoft doesn't provide any API to this My Day thing. So we have no way to get anything from there. And for, I would say, 95% of requests about improvement on this Microsoft integration is, yes, it's about My Day. So we are fighting with Microsoft, asking, guys, what's going on? You promised to deliver like a year ago. And you know how it is to communicate to the guys with the size of Microsoft.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be months, if not longer than that, of time, waiting for you to get an answer. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty annoying.
Actually, we received about 5 answers, and all of them are, there is no ATA. The ETA, no, we are working it, we considering it, so perhaps, whatever.
Well, I hope you get the answer that you're hoping for on that end sooner than later, and that would be great. Now, as far as, and this is usually a good question to ask, where do you see, I guess, the niche? Where do you see most people that are using PomoDone? Are they in a specific niche? Are they in specific industries, or is it pretty all over the place as far as the people that are currently using the app?
It's a really awesome question. And we were thinking about it a lot. We made a few questionnaires, and we communicate a lot with the users. So at the moment, when the user provides some information, we can validate it somehow, and we can check and link it in, right? Who is this guy, girl, or person? So we create some sort of statistics, at least we are trying to, because for these 3 years, we are surprised that we were thinking, of course, initially that it is for designers, for coders, for writers, and for students, perhaps. So initially, we thought like that. And then we realized that there's plenty of executives, HR, some guys with, I don't know, builders, engineers, developers. I mean, there is a so huge number of different professions and approaches. I would say the most of our users are really developers, right?
I was going to guess that.
Yeah, and for us, it's actually really important because we are developers ourselves, web developers or software developers. A lot of writers, or like, let's say, people who digital. So we call it digital professionals for ourselves right now. Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of
writers?
freelancers? Can
you repeat it?
Do you find a lot of freelancers using the app as well? I would assume.
You know, it's two different things, because freelancers, it can be freelancer who is working on almost anything nowadays, right? So yeah, I would say it's freelancers, but recently we released the team features, and these team features showed us that plenty of people who are working in the office, right? They use it a lot. Actually, I'm not sure. Did you notice on our website about a few months ago we released the integration with the Luxafor? It's a tiny gadget. I can find it later on. It's a tiny gadget that you can put on your I don't know, monitor or cubicle wall, right? It changes the color. It's a LED, and it changes the color depending on, for instance, for the PomoDone, are you during the timer or the break? Is it okay to approach you, or it is not a good idea? It's better to wait for a break. And of course, it's being used for the open offices or co-working spaces, or well, mostly like that. I'm actually turning it on. Perhaps I will be able to show it if it would work.
One of my previews, because I used to work at another agency, and we had these little lights that we would plug into the computer. So whenever you were busy and you didn't want to be interrupted, you turned your light on.
So this is actually one of the examples. So now it means I'm available, right? And as soon as I am not available, it's like
that's really cool.
Yeah. It's not our product, but we work with them. So and we of course have co-marketing. We have special offers and discounts. But again, it's a niche which works not for the freelancers. Getting back to your question.
Yeah. And as far as marketing efforts and things like that go, do you have any strategic partnerships with any companies that, you know, will bring you business if you bring them business or something like that? Is that something that you've pursued at all?
Actually, it's a core of our marketing strategy now, because every time we create an integration with some tool, we approach the company, if we can, of course, because Microsoft or Google Task or, you know, or Atlassian and Jira and Trello, well, they are not kind of available, but Evernote, Master Tasks, Nozbe, Todoist. The guys are really awesome, and Zapier actually as well. They're really awesome on partner communication and partner co-marketing. So we create some co-marketing campaigns, kind of contests, or and some I don't know, special offers from time to time. It works a lot. Actually, it was our, I would say, main thing when we started and when we delivered it, because plenty of forums and feature request boards for the tools, we were monitoring it, and we realized how many people are asking about Pomodoro technique support for the task management. And people weren't able to find any, and we realized that the guys, companies like Trello or Evernote, they're not about it. They're about task management and this productivity or even time tracking, it's not about them. It's not their strong point, and they're not going to even jump in. So yeah, and we decided to add this value, and plenty of tools, plenty of teams, creators of these tools are open to put us as official partners. Yeah, and so we are in their official integrations list for almost all of them, like a Basecamp, Asana, Evernote.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and of course we receive a lot of traffic and requests from there.
That's great. And as far as if you could give one piece of advice to other SaaS founders and or people that would want to start a company, what would that look like? What is the one thing that you think everyone should know from your experience on what they should be doing when it comes to starting a SaaS company or running a SaaS company?
Maybe it's not an advice. I don't think I'm like so good to give any advice like that. However, our mistake was we were trying to outsmart the market at some moment, because, for instance, we released our desktop apps in the app stores, Windows Store and Mac App Store, as a paid ones. And we provided the premium plans as the compensation of it. So you can either purchase the plan and receive the redeem code, or you can purchase the app and receive 2 months of the advanced plan. And I would say it was an attempt to outsmart the market and create our own model. And I would say it was a mistake. So if you're talking about the advice, guys, perhaps you're smart enough and perhaps you can create a model, and even perhaps it would work. But I would say, some classical things work much better.
And I did go on the website and I noticed that you have 2 different pricing models. So you have one, because you don't have a freemium right now, correct?
No, we do.
Oh, you do have a freemium. Okay. Because I saw that there's 2 different pricing models on there, and you have one. I think that it allows you to go back and look at reports for 6 months, and it allows you to go back unlimited, so you can look at all your all your reporting. Which one is more successful?
Oh, it's not. This model, it's like a result of different experiments.
Okay.
We used to have the student plan with actually 6 months of access, but the access to the log is not the most important thing, I would say, because there's plenty of different selling points out of just log access. It's about some advanced features for the app. It's extra processing for the task management systems, like a support for subtasks. It's a number of integrations, keeping in mind this universal inbox thing. So I would say we used to have different types of plans during these last 2 years, a bit less. And I wouldn't say the current one is a final one. We're still experimenting, and we are working on the team packages and perhaps like a bulk licenses sets, because plenty of companies, they purchased yoga or meditation packages, right? We are actually pretty close to this niche, with the difference that we are about to work comparing to them. So we are adding more packages like that. Currently, our more expensive one is more successful. Well, I'm not sure is it successful or not, but it's a big part of the pie, on the pie chart, bigger one.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. But again, actually, we added this monthly subscription just recently, because before we used to have 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year billing cycles.
So it is monthly then, because I thought it was only, I thought it was only annual.
No, no. Now it is annual, 6 months and 3 months. And 1 month for the ultimate plan, and 6 months and 1 year for the light one. And again, there is a free version which everyone can try. And I mean, not try, but use.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and I've got two more questions for you, Alex, and one of these might throw you off. But first one is going to be, what is your favorite book? And preferably business related.
It's a good one. Thank you for that. I would say it's several books of Nicholas Nassim Taleb.
Okay.
Partially it's a Black Swan and then Anti-Fragile. It's not exactly the business books, but it is really close to how I think and how I try to analyze and build the work and the life.
Okay. Awesome. I'll have to check those out. I haven't heard of them. And the last question I have for you today, let's see. Are there any deals that our listeners or viewers can take advantage of that you are willing to give for the podcast viewers?
Absolutely. I will share to you 2 special links.
Okay.
Right after this interview. You can put it in the description. The one of it, well, actually by default, we provide 1 week of free ultimate plan trial if someone would like to try it. It goes the same with the, for instance, App Store download. Now the apps are free, actually, all the stores. And so for you, we'll create 1 month of free trial.
Okay.
And we will create special 20% discount for all plans working till the end of the year.
Great.
So I mean, you'll be able to, yes, purchase the plan with 20% discount till the end of the year.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Alex. And do you have any questions for me?
Actually, I do. The thing is, we jumped so fast into the interviews, I wasn't able to polish them. I would like to ask, what from the previous interview in your communication is must-have hack on the growing and the marketing for the SaaS products?
What do you mean?
What is the best strategy? Not a strategy, but what could you offer to consider really seriously to promote, to market our SaaS product based on, again, the interview you already did?
I think the biggest thing you can do right now is finding smaller companies that are also in the SaaS industry and partnering up with them, which you're already doing. And that's why I asked, because I wanted to see if that's something that you were currently doing, but doing something like that. And also doing, I don't know how much of content you are doing to current users and things like that. And that's another reason why I asked about the freemium is if you currently have a freemium, you want to make sure you keep those people inside of the company, right? You want to keep them as members or valuable to you, even though they're not bringing any revenue. You can always get them to start paying. And that would be by making specific tweaks to whatever product you have right now and even asking those people specifically, right? So if you send out emails or maybe on Facebook Messenger, if you have them on there, you can do chatbots and things like that, where you're asking them questions on what they would like to see. But instead of making those features available on the free version, you make them on a separate paid version. And that's going to get them from being on a free to a transition to something that they really wanted to have.
I see. It's a good one. Thank you. Noted.
So I think something like that, and just keeping them nurtured, whether it's small pieces of content, and even if it's just, and you mentioned this at the very beginning too of the call, is that you focus on more of a mindful approach at completing tasks. So even if it's just sending out small text messages or emails that give them more ways to do so, and maybe not even just for work, right? So it's alive and whole. And you can look at what things like, I don't know if you're familiar with Headspace.
Yes, absolutely.
and they have their phone app and they're sending you little reminders throughout the day of, you know, what to do to be mindful of your surroundings, and take a little breath, take a second and just breathe. And that's the type of thing that's going to differentiate you from any other, you know, toggle. I personally use Toggle, and I've never gotten anything like that that tells me take a break. And that could be the thing that just tells me, you know, well, you need to take a break. And these people are looking out for your actual well-being as a whole, and not just your work life, because it's supposed to be balanced. You don't want to have someone just tracking time constantly without ever, you know, taking a breath. So I think small things like that could make a big difference in really understanding what those people that are on the free one want that isn't on the paid one, because they want something. It's just not on the paid one.
All right, we will discuss to our team. Actually, it's a really good idea. Thank you very much for it.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Well, you know, I'm sure I will have plenty of them in half an hour.
All good for now. Just, if you have any, just shoot them off. You have me on Messenger. You have my email, so feel free to reach out whenever.
Absolutely.
Help you.
And and the trials and the discounts are on me. It's on its way to your inbox.
Appreciate that, Alex. So thank you for the great interview. It's always a pleasure having SaaS founders here like Alex, and telling us a little bit more about their stories, what they've been able to do, and what they've been able to overcome these struggles, and learning more about what they do. So thank you for listening, everyone, the podcast, watching the videos. And this is super new, still getting used to everything. And I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their days to watch this. And I challenge you all to take out today and really just find one thing that you want to do, and stop thinking about it so much, and really just start doing it. And that's what's going to get you to where you want to be. So again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Alex, very much. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.